Hello and welcome to your weekly update from all of us here at Online Events. We are so excited about the new sessions that have just landed in the Learning Library. Honestly, we're diving into some topics that we know will really enrich and challenge our entire community of practitioners. So we've organized this week's new additions into a little journey for you. We're going to start with the science of trauma, really looking at the body and brain. Then we'll zoom out to explore identity and society. And we'll finish up by touching on some of the most profound and, often unspoken parts of just being human.
All right, first up, we're looking at sessions that give us real, tangible, science-backed tools. As practitioners, understanding trauma from the inside out is just so vital. And these first two sessions, well, they give us some powerful new ways to help our clients heal. And we are kicking things off with a fantastic session from Joshua Isaac Smith. He is an incredible voice in the world of EMDR and somatic psychotherapy, and his work is truly changing how we can work with the body to heal trauma.
Joshua reframes trauma in such a powerful way. He really encourages us to stop thinking about psychological pain as something abstract and instead to see it for what it is, a tangible, physical injury that actually lives in our nervous system. For so many of us, that shift in perspective is absolutely huge.
So this session is packed with practical takeaways. Joshua gives us actual neuroscience-based tools, things like digiting and savoring, to help clients regulate their systems. He explains how these body-based practices help what he calls the slow system, our ability to think rationally and connect with others, to come back online after it's been hijacked by a threat. It's fascinating stuff.
And building right on that idea of trauma's physical footprint, Winnie E. Maduro offers this amazing, comprehensive framework for seeing the deep, cumulative effect it has on our clients over time.
Winnie's words here, they really hit home, don't they? She explains how chronic stress isn't just, a series of bad days. It's a process of depletion. It's like a battery being slowly drained, where a survivor's internal resources just get worn down, making it harder and harder to cope. So in her session, Winnie gives us tools to see what's really happening beneath the surface. She talks about how things like neuroimaging can literally make trauma's impact visible. And she provides a diagnostic framework to help us assess a client's capacity, their strengths, and exactly where they need our support the most. Okay, so now that we've explored that internal landscape of trauma, let's kind of zoom out a bit. These next sessions really move us into the bigger picture, the wider context of identity, different cognitive styles, and the societal structures that shape all of our clients' realities.
Right. This session from Dr. Lilia Wheatcraft, it is a total game changer for anyone working with neurodivergent clients. It is such a deep and affirming dive into the autistic mind, and I guarantee it will challenge so many of the assumptions we might hold. Dr. Wheatcraft unpacks this really fascinating concept here. She explains that what's often been framed as a deficit, this idea of weak central coherence, is actually a really distinct cognitive style. It's a detail-focused way of seeing and processing the world that has its own unique logic and its own strengths. In this session, you're going to learn how executive functions might operate differently, why context is so critical for autistic individuals when they're performing tasks, and really how all of us can work in a much more informed and, frankly, more affirming way with our autistic clients. Next up, we have an absolutely vital and powerful session from the renowned social commentator and activist, Professor Patrick Vernon. This is, without a doubt, essential viewing for anyone who is committed to anti-oppressive practice. Professor Vernon explains how systemic racism can create what he calls a social death, effectively silencing entire communities and denying them the space to process grief and loss. And as he says in this incredibly powerful statement, this isn't just an idea. It's embedded in the very policies of our institutions. This session is a really powerful call to action for all of us. Professor Vernon talks about the urgent need for culturally sensitive grief support and shares his incredible campaigning work to embed anti-racism into the very fabric of our society, from the NHS right through to the national curriculum. It's a must-watch. Okay, so from the societal to the deeply personal, our final theme explores some of the most profound and universal parts of being human. These sessions take us on incredible journeys into shame, fertility, death, and even the very will to live itself.
David Bedrick's work on shame is, well, it's just so radical and compassionate. He invites us to look at our clients' symptoms in a completely different light, not as something broken that needs to be fixed, but as a source of incredible wisdom. I mean, just think about that idea for a second. David proposes that instead of trying to get rid of symptoms, we should actually listen to them. He sees them as having an activist nature, like a protest from our body and psyche, that contains deep intelligence about what a person truly needs. Now we're turning to a topic that is so personal and so often navigated in silence and isolation. As therapists, we know how critical it is to create a safe space for clients to explore the intricate journey of fertility, and Sarah Crowley's session is just filled with compassion and insight. This quote, it really gets to the heart of Sarah's work, doesn't it? She speaks with such passion about the need to create these safe, therapeutic spaces where all the complex, painful, and often silent stories around fertility can finally be spoken out loud and be held. And finally, we have two extraordinary sessions that, when you put them side by side, create this incredibly rich and profound dialogue about the ultimate existential questions of life and death. So you have Dr. Nancy Hakim Dawak, who invites us to engage with death not as some terrifying endpoint, but as a field of meaning and transformation. And then, in a beautifully complementary session, Professor Emmy van Dersen shares her own journey into losing the will to live and how she found a path to resilience and a deeper connection to life through that experience. Together, wow, they're just a powerful encouragement to confront these big questions. What an incredible range of learning, right? All added in just 1 week. From the neuroscience of trauma to the politics of grief, and all the way to the very depths of the human spirit, these new sessions offer so much for us to explore and bring into our practice. And of course, these fantastic new additions are joining the thousands of hours of CPD that are already waiting for you inside the Learning Library. It's a resource that we are so proud to share with our community, and the best part is it's growing every single week. You know, we believe so passionately that high-quality, lifelong learning should be accessible for everyone. And that's why you get access to all of this, every single new session, every week, plus our entire archive for just £9.99 a month. We really want to support you in your growth as a practitioner. So we really hope this little overview has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to dive in. The only question left is, where will you begin? Thank you so much for joining us for this week's update, and we cannot wait to see you in the Learning Library.